was waiting for him to stop and go have a nice Jerry Maguire joke where he's like, "Who's coming with me?" Like, that's the only thing I was waiting for, is when he's trashed the office. That would have been funny. Or he steals a fish or something. That shit would have been great.
Who's Jerry Maguire?
Oh, gosh.
How are we friends? How are you on a movie podcast? Welcome to the What's Our Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-hosts, Matts and Heiner.
Better red than dead.
Javier Ortiz.
What is up, my nerds? Yeah, I'm sorry, Matts. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I know you always mimic me. You were going to try, but you suck.
Andy and Anderson.
Some shit.
Do you ever find yourself wondering if you spend the time, money, or both on a movie? Well, we're here to answer that question for you. Each week we put a movie on trial, discuss the facts, pass judgment, and let you know our verdict. We appreciate your help growing the podcast. Go ahead and hit that follow or subscribe button. Tell a friend about us. Also, go check out our website, whatsourverdict.com. You can subscribe there to our email list where we send out exclusive content and updates. Also, if you haven't seen this movie, pause now, go check it out, come back, pick up if you want to avoid spoilers, because we're about to dive deep and spoil the shit out of this thing. So let's just jump right in. Yeah, we didn't really do topics on this. I didn't think we need to, but I just wanted to jump in now. You did say something, Javier, that I wanted to ask you about in the spoiler free there. Mm-hmm. You mentioned drug references. I need to know these drug references you mentioned.
Yeah, I was a little confused.
Oh, you didn't catch it? You think
apparently I, the drug addict in the podcast, missed it.
You think that dude, that hippie on the corner, is getting into the spiritual realm not on LSD? You for real right now?
With his trippy boat?
Yeah, dude, that guy's on shrooms 24/7.
Oh shit, that's funny.
All three
that's
of them.
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I won't deny that.
Unless they're like really good at meditating, which, he just didn't seem like the type to meditate without mushrooms.
No, that's probably not. Well, and I love that guy was voiced by Graham Norton. He does a talk show in England. Have you guys ever watched his talk show?
I have.
It's one of my favorite talk shows because it's like this big red couch and he's just sitting there the whole time talking to people. And he gets these guys do talk about crazy shit on his show. Like he gets celebrities to talk about shit they probably shouldn't talk about. So I really enjoy watching his show. So I was really excited when I heard his voice. I was like, holy shit, that's Graham Norton.
So he's just like Joe Rogan, but like for Europeans. Better. Excuse me.
I don't enjoy the Joe Rogan show, so it's funny that you go there. No, he's like the Jay Leno of Britain, but he's been doing it longer than all of them. Like he's been doing this for like 20 years or some shit.
Isn't Jay Leno like 100 years old?
Probably.
Sorry, Ian. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm just gonna ask. Did anybody did they do something to Tina Fey's voice? Because I didn't realize that was her the entire. Me too. Yeah, so it had to have sounded different because I would have picked up on that, but.
Yeah, I don't know her voice well enough to know. You
gotta watch 30 Rock, man.
I know. See, I never did. I never got into that show.
30 Rock is just such a good show. Do you treat me differently because I'm a woman? No, of course not. I do pay you a little less, though.
Sounds about right.
It's Alec Baldwin at his best. But yeah, no, Tina Fey's voice was I totally thought it was different. I'm like 20 minutes into this movie and I didn't know it was, well, I guess more than 20 minutes, but like 20 minutes into her talking. I didn't know it was her.
The way this movie started was really funny for me because I went to college. When I went to college for a little bit, I went to become a music teacher at first. I really like this movie because I love music. Music's a big thing for me. So I really enjoyed this poor bastard sitting in this classroom and all these kids are just destroying this piece of music. And I was laughing so hard going, I remember that when I was a kid and in band, and you just listen to it going, oh, that's terrible. But then the one prodigy trombone player of all things was, I just loved it. I just really enjoyed the opening to this movie for sure.
For a second there, I thought that's what jazz sounded like. And I was like, I remember liking this better.
That's funny. I love jazz. I was stoked when we got a whole lot. Let's just talk about the score of this. So Blown Away. Let's talk about it first and then I'll kind of melt your brains real quick. But I loved the score, all the music throughout this, the jazz, the background music, the score was fantastic, really added to this movie for me. What did you guys think about the music besides just the jazz?
I legitimately don't remember it. So apparently I don't care for it that much.
I don't think I remember as much as I probably should, but I think what I do remember the most is like the music they used when they were up in like pre-Earth or whatever you want to call that. What I remember about the music is it fit really well with what was being told on screen at that point in time. And that's not me remembering exactly what I heard, but it just all really worked and flowed nicely together. And yeah, that's what I would say, I guess.
Yeah, I like the fact that it had like some jazz undertones the whole time, but it really did, like you said, Mattson, fit with the flow of the movie, where they were at each circumstance. I loved the little montage of all her like exploits with the different, like the music that was playing when they showed her like messing with all the different mentors that she had. That was really hilarious.
I loved that. Like, what was it, Mother Teresa? Who was like, I love everyone except you.
You really irritate me.
You even have like Muhammad Ali in there. Like,
it was so good. Yeah. But the music was, the score was done by Trent Reznor and his partner, and they formed the band that is 9 Inch Nails.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yeah. And I bring that up because Trent Reznor, like 9 Inch Nails, great music, really interesting, but it's kind of a niche music, right? Like a lot of people, you have to kind of like that, his style of music when he does like the 9 Inch Nails music. But really musically, the man's a genius, because most of 9 Inch Nails is just him and sometimes one other guy. And he plays all the instruments. He does it. So it's really interesting when you go like see him live and things like that. But he's kind of a musical genius when it comes to that. And this isn't the first movie he's done the score to. So it was really cool I didn't know until it got to the credits, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Trent Reznor's music. I really liked his score. So I really liked that. That was cool.
Yeah, I haven't listened to 9 Inch Nails since high school, dude.
Yeah, Trent Reznor's out there. He's still doing stuff.
Good for him.
Pretty cool. So, but yeah, I loved who were her mentors. She had like Abraham Lincoln. And did you see all like the names, like the "my name is" tags in her little box? Because there was a ton of them in there.
You know, one thing I really liked about this movie is how little they showed in the previews and the commercials. Because there's a couple of things they could have tossed in, like the whole him getting turned into a cat. Like, I had no idea that was going to take that turn.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have easily done that for kind of a quick, like, oh, look how funny it's going to be. You check out the previews. We're turning this guy into a cat. So I liked that they didn't put the whole story out there. And you kind of got to discover it the first time you're watching it, rather than coming and knowing exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
I really enjoyed like the weird deity figures and all their quirky little personalities, especially the accountant guy. And I think Terry, when he thought he caught the jazz teacher, but he caught that guy on the street and just like freaked him out to the point of like no return, maybe. And he was like, I thought they had a really clever take on talking about some very serious subjects, but just dumbing it down to a way that could make sense for whatever religion that you were a part of, but also made it kind of whimsical and fun. But at the same time, if you wanted to get serious and dive into that, you could. And I just thought it was really artsy, but also just quirky and fun.
Guys, how frustrated would you be? Like, if you just land your dream job, Mattson, you're like an ESPN commentator.
and then I die.
You fall into a maintenance shaft and die.
Where were those caution cones for?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Serious OSHA violations, right?
Well, I had no idea what this movie was about, like none whatsoever. I'd never watched a preview for it. I'd seen like billboards and stuff for it, and I'd put it on our list of things to like do a trailer reaction to, but we just never did it. And so I had no idea what this was about. So I was like watching this movie going along, and he's like, if I could just become this, I could die a happy man if I could play with. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, this dude's gonna croak. And because I had no idea. And then I was like, oh, because my dumbass, I thought it was called soul because we were talking about jazz music, and this dude's got soul
power.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I thought. I was like, this is cool. And then I was like, oh no, he's gonna die. This is about his actual soul. It's like, what the hell? This poor guy falls in a freaking pothole and dies. What a terrible way to go.
I only watched one preview to it. I didn't even realize it was coming out because I was like so amped for Wonder Woman.
Right?
I got to tell you guys, I listened to the Wonder Woman podcast and I still haven't seen the movie. And I think that's the best way to get the appropriate amount of entertainment out of that Wonder Woman movie. Just listen to our podcast.
Yeah. That's a great plug right there, Ian, because I agree. Don't watch it. Just listen to us talk about it.
One thing kind of more thought-provoking and serious I wanted to bring up is the part where in the movie, you venture into the zone, where I thought is just really interesting about, we always know like the zone that you're into with work or your passion, your video games, the book you're reading, we all get that. But the other side of it, when they brought in people that were so focused on a craft, like the guy that was mining for gold or whatever, that they become so fixated on it and it almost pulls them out of the reality that they live in. It's those two different types of zones that I thought was so funny, because the jazz teacher thought like he needed to be in the zone because that was his purpose, to play that music. But then there's this other type of zone which can be a detriment to society. But what both of those are really trying to get at, that this movie really talked about, is it's not that, at least for me, it felt like it's not that we all have like this one thing that is our purpose. It's about living and enjoying life and being connected to humanity and just allowing that to happen, and maybe not living our life for the purpose that we think is this thing, but just enjoying it for what it is. And I just thought they did a great job showing me both of those things, but also taking us through that journey throughout the movie. And I think that's probably, on a serious note, resonates the most with me that I took away from this movie.
Yeah, I like that part where it's like, I think we think life is about getting into that zone as often as possible, and it's a collection of those moments we're in the zone. But the movie tries to remind us that you're living life now. Life is a collection of little moments, like collecting leaves or eating pizza, right? Or like, whatever. And to not let those moments just flutter by as you try to chase a high of being in that zone. That being said, the first time that we're introduced to the zone was hilarious, because we're introduced to those people who are like lost souls, right? And Captain freaking Mushroom over there is sailing in his mystic ship trying to save those people. And they free that investment banker. And his little soul hops back in, and he just throws his computer off his desk. He's like, I'm free! And it just wrecks all his coworkers' working space, and then just like sprints out the building. Like, that's incredible. That's amazing.
That one was good, but what you won't appreciate, Javier, is it's a sports reference where she throws one of those balls at this team that she's been harassing for years, and it's the New York Knicks, and they have just been a franchise of misery for years on end. That one, I laughed so hard, because as a sports fan, that hits close to home.
Luckily, it was dumb enough that like I got the joke, right? I'm like, oh, the Knicks must suck, right? Like, I didn't know.
Well, it's even funnier than that, because the Knicks haven't always sucked. They just always come up short. It was so indicative of what they showed with this dude in the zone. He's getting ready to slam it home, and she hits him with the ball. Like, I've been messing with these guys for decades, and like just hits him, and then he misses the dunk. I was like, that's beautiful. And that's how they lose, is that shot. Yeah, I really enjoyed that dichotomy of, as well as the zone. Here's what it looks like when you're just perfect and you're doing it exactly the way you should be doing it, and you're feeling it. But then when you go too far, like with the investment banker, and I love that he was sitting there mumbling like, gotta find a trade, gotta do the trade, like his big zombie weird looking dude. And I did love when he trashed. I was waiting for him to stop and go have a nice Jerry Maguire joke where he's like, who's coming with me? Like, that's the only thing I was waiting for, is when he's trashed The Office. That would have been funny. Or he steals a fish or something. That shit would have been great.
Who's Jerry Maguire?
Oh, gosh.
How are we friends? How are you on a movie podcast?
Because I watched the movie. I thought that was the only prereq for being on here.
Gosh.
Sometimes I don't even do that.
Apparently, exactly. apparently, we're gonna have to do Jerry Maguire on this podcast.
Is that the movie? Is that what it's called?
It's a movie
called
Javier.
I haven't seen it.
Thank you. See, Ian, you're a brave guy. After watching me get crucified like that, you still came through and admitted it. Like, good on, dude. It was made in '96. I was fucking 4 years old. Why would I have seen this damn movie?
Because it's a classic, dude.
Is it? Who's in it? Tom Cruise. You want me to watch Tom Cruise in the 90s? Come on, dude.
Yeah, when he was actually good. And he didn't spend 70% of a movie running at a top speed sprint. Like
that's what I want. That's why I watch Tom Cruise movies.
This was before he did the infamous jump on the couch on Oprah. Yeah, it's good. Tom Cruise
technically falls within the realm of possible good movies, right? Because any movie after 93 has potential to be a good movie. Anything before that is not. Right.
Unless it's Die Hard.
Unless it's Die Hard.
Or Day Off.
Or
Yeah.
Or we're gonna add another or. No.
Only those 3 movies.
There you go. No, come on. You tell me you haven't heard somebody quote a movie where like, "Show me the money."
No, don't know what that is.
Wow.
Alien. Alien was made before. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Whatever.
So 4 movies.
Anyway, can't believe you haven't seen that movie.
Sorry, I was trying to let you enjoy your moment. I was gonna pretend like I got the reference and the joke. I didn't. So I asked,
Don't worry, it'll make a perfect intro.
That's like that part of The Office where he's like, damn it, I forgot what it was. Oh, when his nephew visits Dwight at the farm, and he's like, is that a cow? Did you just ask me if this is a cow? It was obviously a goat.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
And the hippie captain you're trying to think of his name is Moonwind, by the way. Captain Moonwind.
Yeah. Dude, that guy is 80% drugs with a name like that.
A great sign twirler.
I was going to say, he can sure twirl that sign, though.
Seriously.
I know what I thought was going to happen in this movie. I thought the music teacher, when he was actually playing at the concert finally that this whole movie built up to, I thought the spirit, what's the little spirit's name that I should know the name?
22.
22. I thought he was going to get into his Zen moment and she was going to be there and just F it up, like throw that little ball at him and just screw it. I was waiting for that. I was like, oh my gosh, please don't ruin this for him. But it didn't happen. But I wasn't sure if they were going to go that direction. To be completely honest, I think I would have enjoyed if they did that too and made it work however they wanted to. But I mean, the way they did it too is great.
That would have been funny though. I did like the part with Moonwind's boss though, when they're standing there talking to him and the boss comes out and he's like, what are you doing? It's like, that sign's not going to twirl itself. When you go away, we don't need double the crazy around here. Or we only need one crazy around here.
So Madsen, don't take this personally, but like I lived on the East Coast for like 6 months or whatever. And let me tell you, like East Coast people are dicks like that. Like they are really mean.
I mean, if this movie's set in New York City, I think you're trying to like rile me up here. Sure, I agree with you 100%.
Well, that and like, to be fair, I only visited New York once. I lived in like Philadelphia.
But I know someone from California, specifically like the San Diego area, that like kind of a dick, like fairly often. And
yeah, but I don't like accost people who are talking. That's a very East Coast New Yorker type vibe,
I did enjoy the part too where they're walking first time in New York and he's like, don't stop. You don't stop in the streets in New York City. Because that is so true.
If I was hesitant to come to planet Earth and then I had to step onto a New York sidewalk, I would lose my mind too, man. And then get scratched by a cat. Yeah, that would throw me overboard. Might throw me overboard now.
So another thing I really liked about this is the moments. So I have a thing with movies where a lot of new directors and new filmmakers they focus on too much on these visual moments and too much on the big moments that make a movie, where to me, like movies, the movie is the moments, right? That's to me what movies should be. Is a great movie is made up of really great little moments that aren't overshadowed. So for example, something like the Justice League movie, or even like any of Zack Snyder's movie, that movie isn't about the little moments. It's the little moments are what he makes huge, which is cool if you're looking for something different. Like for 300, the movie itself is really fun to watch because the moments are so huge. A movie like this I like because the little moments are what make this whole movie great as a whole. Like one of the things when he's the cat and over again he's watching as an observer of his own life, these different moments happen, like with his mom, and she's having this conversation with his mom, and like he starts to realize that his life's pretty good and all he's ever done is focus on becoming this famous jazz musician, when in reality he should have been living in the moment. And I love the way that they portrayed that through those little moments, and watching him as a cat emote with his eyes, like in the barbershop learning about the barber Dez. And so I really enjoyed those little moments throughout this movie. I think they kind of hit you with all this comedy and this over the top weird stuff because this dude's dead and he's running around as a cat with a disembodied little child's soul in his body. But the moments that they hit are very poignant. So I really connected with those moments and was like, this is really cool. So I really liked how they used those to move the movie forward in the story.
Can I jump to the end yet?
Sure.
So at the end, actually, I want to make a quick comment about Terry. I feel like I've worked with Terry before. And I feel like I've been Jerry. Like, So at the end, when they decide to give Joe another shot at life, right? Like he died, he went through all that, showed 22 that it's okay to live. They're like, have another shot. And he's like, won't Terry be upset? They're like, oh no, we worked it out with Terry. And it just cuts to one of the Jerrys be like, oh, hey, Terry, look over there right now. Hurry, quick, look. Probably the best part of that movie for me. Anyway, I didn't love that he got a second shot. That's probably my only critique of the movie. I didn't love that he got to live again, right? Because I feel like if you die, you die. And like, it's awesome to look back and say like, yeah, I should have done this. I have some, regrets, but I felt like his great like story arc and his great addition to humanity is 22, right? And like teaching her that living life and enjoying these little things is what life is all about. And that she should have gone on to live. And I felt like he should have gone on to, the great beyond. What did you guys think?
It's interesting that you say that because the entire movie, I like want so bad for him to get this dream that he's got of playing with Dorothea Williams, I think was her name. And the entire movie, I'm wanting that up until the end to where it becomes like, it feels like it resolves a lot better with him not going back because he had this progression to where what was so big in his mind doesn't become what was the most important thing. So I fully agree with you, Javier. I think it would have fit better if he didn't get that second chance. It felt a little like, I don't know.
Like giving it to us because they thought we wanted that.
Yeah, where they, trying to make it too happy of an ending or something. I don't know.
I take it from a kid's perspective, though, that I think if my audience is geared more towards kids, it's all about kind of giving that second chance. And I can see maybe why they would have gone that route to help signify that, hey, you did a good thing. Let's let you do more good things. But beyond the trying to rationalize it that way, I didn't mind the ending. I'll be completely honest. Like I was fine with it. Maybe I didn't allow myself to think about it as much as you and Javier and Ian have. But now thinking about it a little bit more, if they didn't let him go back, I think Javier is correct. It would have been the proper story arc, but it didn't bother me enough that I'm, I guess, going to knock the movie for it, but I think it would have been just that much better.
From a kid's perspective, understanding that this is geared towards children, I know why they didn't end it that way, because it's one of those things where now the message, because it comes after 22 going down to earth and that whole thing, like now you break a child's heart if he dies. But I think there's a way to do it, because I'm with you, Javier, completely. That's my only knock on the movie. And I do knock it for that, because I was like, this is an opportunity to show that death is death. This is a teaching opportunity, right? And for me, when I saw that, and I think what I really wanted to see, I said, they're going to give him another chance, and I don't want them to. What I want him to do is go to the great beyond and show him and his dad playing music together. That's what I wanted. I was like and to me, that would have resolved the problem that you have with kids feeling sad about him not getting his second chance. You just taught them the lesson and live their life in the moment and understand that, life is about these little moments, and just, it's okay if you don't you don't figure out your purpose, because that's not what life's about. And now he's passed on, he's moved on. Now he's playing music with his dad. I thought that would be the great ending for even kids, and go, look, he's with his dad. They're enjoying music together. They're playing. I thought that would be great. So that was my only beef with the movie as well, was the ending. I didn't want him to go back, but I'm okay that he did. And I understand why they did it, but I think it would have been a better teaching and a more powerful moment if they'd have let him move on and go with his dad.
Yeah, I didn't hate it either. I just think if you're going to make a movie about death and living, like just pull the trigger, like go all the way with it. Death isn't scary, right? Like, or shouldn't be, at least. Yeah. The other like really feel good part for me, this movie that I really like, is when he first dies and he meets 22, he goes through those little like still moments of his life, like him eating alone in a cafe or him playing the piano by himself, right? And it's all like grayed out and dark. And he's like, wow, my life amounted to nothing. And then at the end of the movie, he's reliving his life. He's thinking about all those moments. And it's like him eating in a cafe, except it's brighter. And it's like a good story. It's him playing the piano because he loves playing the piano, right? So it was really cool that in the beginning of the movie, he's like, wow, I was a failure. Look at my life. All I did was play piano, eat in a diner by myself, watch TV. And then looking back, he's like, I like eating pie in that diner, right? Or like, I like playing piano by myself, or I liked that TV show. And there's nothing wrong with having those little moments in your life, even though you're not Elon Musk, or, you're not inventing, a COVID vaccine, whatever. You don't need those things in your life to have a life that was worth it.
Yeah, I think, Javier, what you're getting at, and something I'm going through in my life right now, is just being happy with who you are and being happy with what makes you happy, and not kind of comparing it to other things or other people's expectations. And a lot of times that can be smaller things. But if you can find happiness in yourself, then you're going to be able to help other people be happy as well.
Yeah, and I think it did a lot to show perspective, right? Which I think, Javier, when you're talking about that comparison of when he first came over, he was focused on his purpose, right? And that was to be a jazz musician. When in reality, like all of the things that he did trying to do that and the things that weren't part of that were the things that, as he looked back, they were sunny, bright moments. And I think to what Mattson's saying, it's all about perspective. When we think about perspective, a lot of times we get, and I think that's where you go to those parts that they showed the people that were so overly in the zone that they lost themselves, right? Because we focus so hard, we lose perspective of what's actually important. And I'm with you. I think that was one of the greatest parts of this movie, is to show you don't need a purpose per se. Your purpose is to live. That's what it's about, is to be here, to have fun, to, be important to other people and recognize the importance of other people in your life and the day-to-day parts of living. Because if you get too caught up in something that you can't have in the moment, you're going to lose yourself in one way or another. So I just thought, what a great movie. It was just such a good lesson.
Do you guys know what heaven would be to me, though? Is that little, I forget what they call it, but that little like university that they go to and they get to just try out a bunch of stuff. Like, what was that called? I can't remember.
The House of Everything or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. That was it.
She's like cooking and like making these incredible things. She's like a chemist, and at the end of everyone, she's like, nah. She like launches in a rocket at some point. Nah.
So good.
I would do that for eternity, though. That would be awesome. How cool would that be?
That would be a ton of fun. I also liked when they had the montages of all the famous people that tried to help her. And she's like that, like screw up Muhammad Ali. Who else did she have in there? Like,
I just remember Muhammad Ali, Mother Teresa.
Okay, you ready? I got the full list.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so here's the ones that you actually see on screen: Abraham Lincoln, Mother Teresa, Nicholas Copernicus, Muhammad Ali, Marie Antoinette, and Carl Jung. And then
and Marie Antoinette is just a head.
Yep. It's just the head yelling at her, I'm done with you. You can't do this. That's and then there were two that were mentioned that you don't see, and that's Gandhi and then George Orwell. It's like my friend George Orwell says. And then here's all the labels that were on the wall. So Vincent van Gogh, Nellie Bly, Copernicus, Da Vinci, Marvin Gaye, Joe Grant, Babe Ruth, Joe Ranft, Jack Kirby, Harvey Milk, Marie Serna, Maya Tsosi, Stephen Hawking, Herman Jacobs, Nelson Mandela, Johann Gutenberg, Jan Kowalski, Catherine the Great, Joan of Arc, Thomas Edison, Amelia Earhart, Confucius, Eleanor Roosevelt, Cy Lun, Mahatma Gandhi, Johnny Cash, Harriet Tubman, Grace O'Malley, Anna Kowalczyk, Pawit Jakowski, Bolo Thomas, Marie Curie, Prince Rogers Nelson, Aretha Franklin, Peter Yankovic, Albert Einstein, Maria Izquierdo, Hiri Svoboda, I don't know, Archimedes, Martin Luther King Jr., Pablo Picasso, William Taylor, John Wilson, Amin Demir, Mary Johnson, and Mike Osnowitch.
Amazing.
Did you screenshot that, JJ? How did you get that?
Somebody else did it for me. I just Googled it.
Jeez, it's a lot of people.
But it's a great
somewhere in there
of all
was
those
Javier.
names. Exactly.
Oh, I could totally convert 22, dude.
Hell no, 22 would have converted me, dude. I don't like. Let's go hang out at this joint and piss people off.
Honestly, like 22 had a really good point. Where she's like, "It's awesome up here. Why would I go down there?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's hard to argue with that logic.
There were some great quotes in this movie too, though. Like one of them, I laughed so hard. Like when he landed on a couple of the little intro souls or whatever, and she says, "Don't worry, they're fine. You can't crush a soul here. That's what life on Earth is for." I was like, yes, what a great line.
This movie was full of great comedic lines like that.
Oh man.
Other one I liked is when he's talking to, or 22's talking to Abraham Lincoln. She's like, "Are you really sure you're okay being on the penny?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine with it." Well, they put Jackson on the 20. Jackson!
Oh, man. Oh, that's pretty funny. That was a good one. It's so good.
I'm trying to think. Like, I don't remember any quotes off the top of my head. I will say, though, Jamie Foxx has never let me down, I don't think. Like, he did great in this movie.
He was in Project Power.
Which one was Project Power?
The pill with the superhero powers.
Okay, Jamie Foxx has let me down a handful of times. But it's still a net positive.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I did like too when the principal stops him and she's like, sorry to interrupt. And he's like, it's okay. You're doing my ears a favor.
It's like, hey, not you. You're great. Yeah. He's not.
He's not. Oh, man. Love it. Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie, guys. Had a lot of fun with it. We ready to rate it?
Let's rate it.
Okay, let's do this. Javier, why don't you kick us off?
I'm going to give this a 4. I probably should rate it higher because it was really good. I don't have really any solid complaints other than that ending. And if you don't like animated movies, I don't think you're going to like this any more than any other animated movie, And don't get me wrong, I like animated movies. I just don't like.
How are you giving this a 4 after everything you've said?
Well, you think this is a 5 movie? 4 is good.
No,
4 is a good.
4.5.
Fuck you, Mattson. Dude, I'm gonna rate things the way I want to rate them, and you don't get to try to sway my rating. 4 is a good rating.
Here's another good outtake.
Just for that, 3.5. I'm giving this movie a 3.5. It's good, but I'm freaking tired of rating movies the way I want to rate them, and I would watch this again. 3.5.
4. Put it down to 4.
No, put it down to 3.5.
Best part of what you said, though, is you said you were tired of rating movies about how you want to rate them. So
I didn't finish my thought. I'm tired of rating movies the way I want to rate them, and then just get all this shit from Mattson. All right? So 3.5 now. Look what you did, Mattson. It's on you.
That's
no, but
funny.
seriously, it's a good movie. You should go watch it.
All right, Ian.
I'm going to go with a 4.5. The only thing that I can think of why I wouldn't do a 5 is this. It's a great movie. It's just not one that after I'm finished watching, I want to watch right away again. It's one that I'd definitely watch it again, but I need some time in between before I'd go back to it. Other than that, it was a great movie. The one ending part we kind of talked about was maybe a knock, but other than that, it was great in every other aspect. The voicing was done excellent. I loved all the little comedic nuggets that are sprinkled throughout this movie. It's a great movie. Go watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with a 4.5 as well. And for me, it's the ending. I just think I wanted to see a little bit different ending. Doesn't make it a bad movie. It's still a fantastic movie, but I definitely would have liked to have seen a little bit different ending. Just commit to that whole lesson that you're trying to teach across the board, not just, the feel good ending where he gets to go back. And I didn't love that it just was him taking a big breath and he's going to go live now, right? I think that's great, but I just wanted to see a little different ending. Other than that, this movie's fantastic. The acting's great. The voiceover's great. The visuals are really fun. The music's fantastic across the board. Really brings out the emotion of each moment that you're going through, whether it's sad or happy or whatever it is. The music really does a great job and is such a central part to it. So the whole thing was just fun to watch. And I always look at animated movies especially when I watch them by myself like this, it's am I excited to go watch this with my nieces and my nephew? And yes, I want to watch this with them. I want to share that experience with them. So it's really fun for me. Great movie, but 4.5, I will definitely watch it again. I am with Ian. No, I'm not going to go watch it tomorrow unless my nieces and nephew came over, but I will definitely watch this movie again. It's a lot of fun. Mattson, bring us home.
Yeah. As you know, I was criticizing Javier's 4, so the only way to go higher is to go higher. So it will be a 4.5. I was really having a hard time why I wouldn't give this movie a 5, but hearing the points about the way this movie ended, I think it's a valid criticism that individuals have said, if you want to teach death, don't be afraid of it, do it. So for that matter, I think it could have executed that a little bit better, but everyone else has already said what's been great about this movie. This movie's awesome. Definitely will be watching this movie again. I think it gives you a lot to think about if you want to go on a very deep level, but if you want it to be a surface level fun movie that you go watch with some kids as well, or just with whoever, you're going to be entertained.
Yeah, worth the watch. Really high scores for this movie, guys. Go check it out. We're ignoring Javier's fake 3.5, and it'll stick at a 4. So,
wasn't fake.
Next week, we'll be reviewing the movie News of the World. So check that out. That'll be on Monday, January 18th, the release. So check that one out. Yeah, Mattson, why don't you tell them where they can find us?
Yeah, you can find us wherever good podcasts are found. Spotify, Apple, Ghana. You can check us out on our website at whatsourverdict.com. Come chime in with us on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. And check us out on our YouTube channel as well to see a lot of our spoiler-frees. But come engage with us. We love hearing from you.
Definitely.
Hey, JJ.
Yeah.
How come you don't ask me to do that anymore?
I don't ask anybody but Mattson to do that anymore because he's our social media guy.
Although JJ's our social media guy at the moment. Thank you, JJ.
I've been filling in while he's on vacation, but yeah, I don't. He does the social media, so I let him do that, and I let you come in. And
I would sarcastically talk about how awesome podcasts are. It's not because of that.
No.
Just want to make sure it wasn't personal, you know.
Well, no, so we all have our things, right? Like I edit. Ian writes the great synopses that Mattson then puts in the social media, and
right.
You come and talk about movies.
Right. The hard part is basically what you guys have left me.
And we make sure that you talk about the ones that you've watched, and sometimes we have to record later because you forgot to watch movies. So
okay. Wow.
Just making sure that I'm just making sure everybody's place in the podcast is known, you know.
I have never been so offended by something I 100% agree with.
Yeah. You represent that remark. No.
All right, that's a wrap.
Yeah, obviously, I'm not playing anymore.
All right, let's move on. Let's go.
Regretting that question, are you?
I mean, yeah, it turned it on me.
Yeah, it's all right. I do that sometimes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you joining us. Again, like Mattson said, come join us for a deep dive wherever you can find us with our podcast, and come communicate with us. We love it, so we enjoy it. And don't forget about our TV side as well. We've been doing The Mandalorian, so go check that out. And we just talked about the investor call last week. It was a lot of fun. All right, guys, we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye now.
Cinemagic out.